The Krillian War Council had made many terrible decisions in their 3,000-year history, but kidnapping Anna Karis would prove to be their last. Commander Zixthor chittered with satisfaction as he watched the human child sleep in the containment cell. 7 years old, small and fragile like all human younglings, with dark hair splayed across the cold metal bench. The ransom demand had already been transmitted across the galaxy, 10 billion credits, and the withdrawal of human forces from the disputed Outer Rim territories. "The human government will have no choice," Zixthor said to his second-in-command. "They cannot refuse, not for one of their own children." What the Krillians didn't know, what their intelligence had catastrophically failed to uncover, was whose child they had taken. Anna wasn't just any human. She was the daughter of Roma Karis, a name whispered in terror across 1,000 worlds, the Phantom of Proxima, the Reaper of the Rim. The man who had single-handedly turned the tide of the Zargon conflict by infiltrating their flagship and depressurizing every deck in under 4 minutes. The man who had walked out of the Helheim prison complex, leaving nothing but corpses and silence behind him. The deadliest human in the galaxy. Roma received word of the kidnapping while standing in the rain on New Kyoto, attending a memorial service for fallen soldiers. His face remained expressionless as the message played in his neural implant. But those who knew him saw his jaw tighten fractionally. That was enough. Within an hour he had disappeared from the civilized galaxy. The Krillian fortress was built into an asteroid in the Theta Serpentis system, designed to withstand fleet bombardments and siege warfare. Its shields could repel nuclear strikes. Its automated defense grid could track and eliminate 1,000 targets simultaneously. Its location was known to fewer than 20 beings in the entire galaxy. Roma found it in 36 hours. He didn't announce his arrival. There was no hail, no warning, no demand for Anna's release. The first indication the Krillians had of his presence was when the asteroid's outer defense turrets simply stopped working, then the backup systems, then the emergency protocols. Zixthor rushed to the command center, his multiple limbs trembling. "Report! What's happening?" "Sir, we're experiencing cascading system failures across all—" The technician never finished his sentence. The lights died, plunging the fortress into emergency red illumination. Roma moved through the corridors like a shadow given purpose. The Krillians had numbers, weapons, and home field advantage. He had spent 20 years becoming something that made alien species invent new words for terror. The first squad found him, or rather, he allowed them to find him, at Junction 7. 12 Krillian warriors, each outfitted with military-grade exoskeletons and plasma rifles. They opened fire immediately. 30 seconds later, Roma stepped over their bodies without breaking stride. Not a scratch on him. The fortress's internal sensors had captured what happened, but Zixthor, watching the playback, couldn't comprehend it. The human had moved impossibly fast, using the Krillians' own weapons and armor against them, turning their numbers into a liability in the narrow corridors. "Seal all passages to the detention level," Zixthor shrieked. "Deploy everything." They threw everything at him: assault drones, neurotoxin gas, gravity wells, automated defense systems that could cut through starship hulls. Roma dismantled each obstacle with the same terrifying efficiency, his movements precise and economical. This wasn't rage or desperation. This was a professional doing what he did best. When he reached Anna's cell, 47 Krillians lay dead or incapacitated in his wake. The door opened with a soft hiss. Anna sat up on the bench, rubbing her eyes. When she saw him, her face broke into a smile. "Daddy." Roma's expression softened for the first time since receiving the ransom demand. He knelt down, checking her over with gentle hands that had, minutes before, been instruments of death. "Are you hurt, little star?" "No, they didn't hurt me. I knew you'd come." "Always." He lifted her into his arms. "Close your eyes. Keep them closed until I tell you." She buried her face in his shoulder without question. Zixthor made his last stand in the command center, surrounded by his remaining guards. When Roma entered carrying Anna, the Krillian commander raised his weapon with shaking claws. "You can't. This is an act of war. The Krillian Empire will—" Roma's voice was quiet, colder than the void of space. "Your empire sent kidnappers instead of soldiers. They chose to make this personal." He adjusted Anna in his arms. "Tell them what happens when they touch my daughter." He left Zixthor alive, one witness, traumatized and broken, to carry the message back to the Krillian High Council. The fortress was a graveyard when Roma's extraction ship arrived. He carried Anna up the ramp, her eyes still obediently closed. Once aboard, he finally set her down in the medical bay. "Open your eyes, Anna. You're safe now." She looked up at him with those wide, trusting eyes. "The bad aliens were scared of you." "I know." "Why are you so scary, Daddy?" Roma knelt down, pulling her into a hug. Behind him, through the viewport, the Krillian fortress was already receding into the distance. Soon it would be nothing but another cautionary tale told in the dark corners of the galaxy. "Because," he said softly, "there are things in this universe worth protecting. And I'll become anything necessary to keep them safe." Anna didn't fully understand, but she nodded anyway, content in her father's arms. The story spread fast. Within weeks, every criminal syndicate, mercenary company, and hostile government in known space had updated their databases. Next to Roma Karis's entry, a new warning appeared in a dozen languages. "Do not engage. Do not approach family. Do not threaten." The Krillians learned the hard way what the rest of the galaxy would come to understand. Humanity might negotiate over territory, resources, or political disputes, but threaten their children, threaten what they love, then you meet the monster they've been keeping chained beneath civilization's surface. And monsters, when unleashed, are thorough.